What should the youngest among us know about the existence of sexual orientation and gender identity? Nothing is the answer to that question these days in Florida unless the topic is addressed by parents. That's the idea behind what critics have dubbed the Don't Say Gay bill, which is about to be signed into law by Governor Ron DeSantis. With me now live is Jorge Reyes Salinas with Equality California to discuss what national implications such a law may have. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you.
This soon-to-be new law in Florida specifically prohibits classroom instruction about sexual orientations and gender identity for K through third graders. The idea being that these topics should not be integrated into any curriculum for these young age groups. These topics should be handled by parents. First, just your reaction.
Well, Equality California is completely against this legislation. This is hateful legislation that is really just another direct attack against LGBTQ plus children everywhere. You're trying to erase the existence of LGBTQ plus people, and that's the reality of this legislation.
After being introduced, amendments, friendly or otherwise, are offered to bills in every state of the union. The author of this measure actually proposed an amendment calling for parents to be notified if a student came out as LGBTQ to a teacher. That did get pulled down, but there are some who believe such a thing could have caused real harm to kids, perhaps even physical harm, and shows a fundamental lack of understanding about familial and societal bias and sort of the evolutionary process of coming out.
Yeah, we are seeing doctors that are worried about the looming mental health crisis among LGBTQ plus kids already, in addition to what's going on across the nation. A recent study shows that 85% of transgender and gender non-binary youth are negatively affected by these legislative attacks. And we know these bills are a result of a concerted effort by right-wing organizations that have been battling against LGBTQ plus progress for many years.
To be clear, I'm told this law would not bar spontaneous discussion, just something inserted into the curriculum at these tender ages. Are you comforted at all by that fact, or is it enough that teachers could guide a discussion or answer questions on these topics if they came up just organically? And since this law will allow parents to sue over violations, do you think teachers would even feel comfortable about talking about something like this if it did just indeed come up in class?
No, I feel like teachers will be extremely fearful about what could happen if a parent complains. You're talking about their careers, you're talking about not being able to assist children who are in the most need. So it's really just not affecting families and children, but you're affecting everyone around it. And you're creating more of a stigma and silencing the lives of people and youth who need to be the most supported during these times.
A lot of folks will hear us talking about this and wonder why we are talking about a Don't Say Gay bill in California. Nothing like that would ever happen here, and that is most likely true. But much like the change in abortion rights that the country has witnessed in the last year that have built up to a possible reversal of Roe v. Wade, 8 other states are considering doing something like this, right? Is that concerning to Equality California?
Absolutely. We're very lucky to have a very progressive state and with strong supportive leadership across our California Senate and Assembly. So yeah, it is concerning, but regardless of what's currently going on, refusing to acknowledge LGBTQ plus existence does not change at all. And Equality California, we're proud to support Florida. We're proud to support Texas. We're proud to support all these other groups that are going through all these situations. And again, I think California is leading the way with all this, and we have what it takes to continue elevating other states and making sure that we're protecting the lives of youth, which is the most important part of all this.
The Supreme Court may end up getting involved in this issue as well, since the Department of Education has stressed that public schools getting federal funding have to abide by Title IX and follow those federal civil rights legislation protections which protect people against discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. And clearly you feel this is a built-in bias with this curriculum ban.
Absolutely, definitely.
And with his stance constantly challenging COVID protocols like masking and required vaccinations for certain activities, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has really become a rising Republican star, possibly considering a presidential run in 2024. Someone arriving in the Oval who has backed this kind of legislation could end up being of concern to every American and a reason to be paying attention now, right?
Definitely. And when you really think about this situation, it's all for what? To score political points? for a potential campaign, this is costing the lives of kids, and it has an extreme potential to be truly devastating. So it's something that we should all be paying attention to, especially as we're getting closer to an election year.